Hey everyone, welcome back to part two of our celebration. I hope that everyone had a fantastic afternoon. We want to recognize that Mr. Cory Booker is here today. We are so thrilled that he is here. He has been committed to MBDA for many, many years. I'm not sure exactly how many years it's been, but I think you've been involved in the YES program for about 4 years, and then you have been involved in various aspects of the program at different times. So Cory's going to talk with us for about a half an hour about our youth program and what we're doing within the culture in that way. And then we're also going to talk about what we as a community can do to continue to build the future for our young generation. So thank you, Cory, for coming here and talking with us about this. This is one example of something that MBDA is doing, and we want to continue this work. We have this program that takes place every couple of years for just a short period of time, and we need to really ramp up some of the services that we're providing in this way. So we have to remember our history and continue to recruit these youth and bring them in and have them do what it is that we need them to be able to do as far as leadership in our communities. Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here today with you, particularly on Juneteenth, a day of celebration for us and our people and our history. I'd like to introduce myself just real briefly before we move forward. I attended Rochester Institute of Technology. I was exposed to the Black deaf community and didn't have many role models. I was taken to an MBDA conference, though, in 2009. And there were many Black deaf college leaders within that program. Laureen Sims was there. And the whole program had a profound impact on me and truly just was transformational to my own personal development. I really jumped into the program, just feet first and wanted to really get involved in it. And it had such a profound impact on me because of where I had grown up. I grew up in Indiana at the School for the Deaf. When we talk about deaf leaders and Black deaf history, I didn't really have exposure to any of it. And it wasn't that it was anybody's fault, but I kind of wondered about what was going on with other Black deaf children out there in our country. Who are their role models? Who do they have to look up to? I didn't want them to experience the same things that I had in my own education. So as I worked with Dr. Sims and with the YES program, the Youth Empowerment Summit, I knew that I wanted to make a positive change. I wanted to make sure that I was there to be able to support them in ways that our youth needed. We were in Oakland in 2019, and we actually have a video, Teddy. If you can show a video that we created from 2019, I think that'd be great for the participants to see. You can see there was a lot that took place there. we had a large group of Black deaf youth. We had people who were involved in this program from colleges, from schools for the deaf, from the Youth Empowerment Summit, and then from the Miss Deaf America, Black Deaf America pageant, which we have now turned to Black Deaf Women Week. So we'd like to talk a little bit about the Youth Empowerment Summit and what that program means for us. It's truly one of my favorite initiatives that MBDA leads. And it's a way to really transform the youth in our day and time. This program is really powerful and it's very close to my heart. The Youth Empowerment Summit, or YES, was established in 1997. And the goal was to have a week-long program where youth could come together for a week with MBDA advocates and administration and work together to establish role modeling, to make sure that we're growing our membership. In 2011, I came in with Barbara Smith. We had different administration at MBDA at that time, but as we looked at the 23 or 24 students that we had brought into the program, it was the largest number that we had been able to recruit at that point. And this was, of course, taking place on the East Coast this year. Was very successful. We had the opportunity to really see the growth and development of many of our youth leaders. So that was 2011. The program continued for about 4 years, and I became a director at that point with Brandon Williams, Delisha. The three of us worked on advising and leading the program. So that we could uplift our youth. So the summit focuses on high school age students, approximately age 14 to 18. During that week, we make sure that we have a very focused curriculum that is intended to help our youth really look at their identity. We bring in a variety of speakers and presenters who address a variety of topics. And we teach them about the history of the National Black Deaf Advocates. We teach them about Black leadership and Black deaf leadership. Many of our participants have explained that this has really been transformational for them on an individual level. I'd like to share a few of those examples. We had one person who is currently in grad school right now, but they reported that they felt like they were thoroughly transformed after the program. So that was the YES, the Youth Empowerment Summit. And then we also have the Black Deaf Leadership Institute, which also has another profound impact on us. There we focus on our college students, on our post-secondary participants in MBDA. I was involved in that in 2005, working to administer the program. And again, Dr. Sims was involved in that with us. In there, we talked about role modeling and what leadership looks like within our communities. And again, we focused on this concept of being Black. This institute is really about us all coming together and sharing ideas, brainstorming, and working together to build our community. We also work to increase their skills in leadership in a variety of ways. For one example, when I was there, Victoria Moore was engaged in the work, and Christopher Rosen was also there doing the work and contributing a lot of time to what it is that we do. And they stood out as wonderful role models for us. Now, the Miss Black Deaf America pageant. In 2017, we brought that program to an end. And in 2019, we had a discussion and a vote ensued, and we decided to turn it into a Black Deaf Women Leadership Week. It was a new concept, a new idea, and we began to build it from scratch. We're really looking forward to seeing where this program grows and how it grows within the MBDA leadership team. So when we think about these programs and the significance of them for our people, and particularly for our high school students and our post-secondary students, it just has an incredible impact. It benefits them in countless ways. So we ask you as a community, what are the ways that you believe that you could support these programs? Can you encourage students from your schools to attend them? Oftentimes they don't know how to make it there. They oftentimes don't have the funding. Can you help fundraise? Can you bring in VR to support them in their endeavor to grow? Oftentimes our students don't have parents who are able to afford these programs and services. And so we rely on schools to help. But oftentimes parents and families will engage in a great deal of fundraising to make sure that their students are able to participate. In 2016, we had one student who really wanted to come to the 2017 program, but they didn't have the funding available that they needed. They started to ask folks for sponsorship, and they were able to make it happen, but they put in so much work to get there, and they were so grateful that they were able to attend. And again, our college students, we need them participating in our programs as well. Oftentimes they don't even know about our programs. We need to bring them in so that they can learn and develop these leadership skills as well. And then our Black Deaf Women Leadership Week, this brand new exploratory program. We're so excited to be able to look at this and figure out how we successfully administer this program. And you'll see some announcements that will be coming out around that particular program very soon. Now, Juneteenth. Many of you know the history, you know many of the facts. Let me just run through a few things that I would like to highlight about Juneteenth. Juneteenth was known as Freedom Day for the slaves. Abraham Lincoln had already signed the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863. But you have to remember at that time, there was no radio, there wasn't the technology that we have now. And so it took quite amount of time for people to actually get word of the news that the slaves had been freed. Gordon Granger made the announcement in Texas in the year of June 18, 1865, he came into Texas and announced to our Black ancestors that they were free. Many of them had stayed in slavery. And some of these people, when they found out that they were free, left. Some of them stayed on the land and continued to work, but then for pay. But this became recognized as an important day for friends and family, for neighbors and associates to come together and celebrate our survival of these experiences. So we're recognizing this more and more as a national holiday. If you've been paying attention to the news, there have been people who have been discussing the possible introduction of a bill that would set this as a federal holiday, which is very exciting for our people. So I believe I'm to the point of my remarks. So I'd like to invite Isidore in.
Hey, thank you so much for joining us. That was beautiful. I'm sure I got a lot out of that too. And just thinking for myself, I remember working with you, I believe, in South Carolina. Was that about like 2011 or something like that?
That's correct, 2011.
Okay. We were driving the van around. We had a lot of fun. Remember those days? Oh, we were like in a UNC dorm. Oh, those were the days.
Mm-hmm.
Look at us now. I was wondering, if schools have any Black deaf students, how do we get them in this for the week that you're referring to, and how do we get the funding to get these students to come out here? Are we looking for additional donors? Do they have to raise the money themselves? How does that work? For especially for those who can't afford or come from disenfranchised communities, or any other means that just they can't make the gap. So how about that?
I think that's a great question. So I think there's two parts to that. We have to look at the student. We know that they're in a wide variety of programs, that we're trying to bring them together, but they've got a lot going on, but they're spread out all over the place. And so when students recognize that this program is here, we have to be all about fundraising for them. It's really hard to predict and know if the school is going to provide any funding for them. Oftentimes in April or May, it's not until April or May that those decisions are able to be made. We have MBDA chapters that can be in support. So we need to make sure that they're helping out financially as well to help these youth and these students. So the financial support, I think that's a big part of this. And I'm hoping that our community steps up to help these programs. When we financially support these programs, our students are able to make it, and that's really what is required. But there is a second part. There's a second part to this. A couple of years ago, we had a fundraiser. We set up a scholarship for students to be able to attend our programs. We established some criteria. For example, we established criteria around schools and family funding. We needed people who were coming in who desire this transformation, but we still don't have enough. We still don't have enough donations at the end of the day. So we have to come up with really creative ways where our community comes together to support these youth so that they can develop the leadership skills that they need. In Fremont, in the California school in Fremont, they were really dedicated to getting their youth there into the programs. We know that there are other states who have been all about donating and making sure that they're able to contribute to who we are and what we're doing and be a part of our history.
Thank you for that. Another question. Maybe if those in the audience who are asking, they might have some questions, so I might want to turn it over. Let's see. Hmm. Don't see any questions as of yet. But I want to give everyone an opportunity to send in their questions. If you have that, put that in the chat section. I myself, suppose, NAD, they have a youth leadership conference themselves, or something that meets, was it every month or they meet annually, right?
Annually, yeah.
It's really, really nice. It's not easy for our people, our students, to get the opportunity to go to this prestigious conference. It's not like we're applying on that end either. Do you feel it's our benefit to petition to go there? Or do you think we should have similar programs, or we should combine, your summit with their summit?
That's an excellent question. I guess from my perspective, I went to YLC in 2006. I've presented at YLC 4 times. The reality is I can't see us blending our programs. There is a different focus. We're focusing on people really unpacking their identities. And I think that really your own growth and awareness of your identity is key to our student success. So because we have to be so absolutely focused on that, I can't see us blending the programs. And YLC is a fantastic program. In fact, they have gone through a lot of improvements. When I went there in 2006, I think I was one of 3 Black deaf youth participants there. So it's much more diverse than it was in 2006. Certainly, there's been some policies that have changed, and I really applaud NAD for that. I know that some of our youth who have gone to YLC have said that it doesn't feel beneficial. I'm not sure if they're feeling that they're being attended to in the way that they need to, or if they're being included in the activities the way that they need to. What I will tell you is that in the YES program, there is full inclusion for our youth. They are definitely in the mix. We have them engaged in all of the activities, but a week is not enough. And I will be very, very straightforward about that. We would love to increase the time to 2 weeks, but of course there is a financial tie. There's a financial burden that comes along with that.
I believe the community has the power to empower our own. That's a positive way of thinking about this. Maybe we could try in a couple of weeks or something like that. At this point, of course, those who are tuning in right now, I want you all to brainstorm. That is my challenge to you all. Brainstorm on different ways we can create this trust fund of support amongst one another, for one another. We have to invest in Black deaf youth if we are going to take, invest in the future of us to control our destiny. We have to figure out our own budgets. We have to figure out what is it going to take for us to be self-sufficient. That is part of the vision. That's amazing.
Hey, most definitely.
All right. I thank you for your time. I wish we could focus fully more on your program, but we're going to take a little break. You all have the program, correct? Oh, the agenda, I'm saying. Okay, so for that, if you can put that maybe in that section and look at different ways we can improve our experiences with that, because I know students who show up most of the times, based on my experience, there's this gap between the transition between the mainstream school or even any other school for deaf and college. A lot of times, families are not giving them the resources that they need.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of conversation about that transition from YES to Leadership Institute and how we support that more effectively. Let me talk a little bit about that. So with our Black Deaf Women Week, this is such a critical piece that we're now introducing. Oftentimes students will graduate and then, they'll head in, they go into their workshops, they go into these programs. We have Black deaf women who are coming into the Institute as well. We need to have these programs that are kind of blended in a little bit so that there's better transition from program to program. We also need to make sure that we have programming specifically for our Black deaf men. And I think that if we do that, we'll be able to see a greater increase in qualified leadership out there.
I appreciate that. Anyone else want to add any comments to that? Anyone want to ask any board members? I want to open this up and make this much more inclusive. It's not just me and Corey discussing. Actually, we want to enhance our Juneteenth experience. If you have anything to add to this, especially board members, audience members, things you want to contribute to this. I do remember, I see the Vice President on, I see Martina on, I see, okay, who else is in the house here? We have a Black Deaf Senior Citizen Program, I see that. I see representatives of that. Is that Sam?
Yeah, this is Sam. I've actually got a couple of questions. I've got a couple of questions that other people have actually given to me, if I can ask them of you two.
Okay.
So, from Riverside, actually. We've got a teacher from Riverside School for the Deaf who is asking, of all the deaf school day programs and the youth, the Black deaf youth students, how are we bringing those students? So those students who are in their mainstream programs or in day school programs, how are we bringing them into the MBDA youth programs? What are we doing to recruit them? Great question. I think that we need to have some of these schools reach out to MBDA. We are more than happy to come and talk with them and their students. We can let them know what's going on and the events that we have. Sometimes teachers, don't know how to provide that information, but if you directly reach out to us, we can share those resources and tools along to you so that you can provide explanations to the students better. So it really is word of mouth right now. We know that as we come closer to fall, we're going to be sending out video promos about our programs, and that should help spread the word as well.
And I'd like to add to that, if you don't mind. Will we have input from junior MBDA or junior BDA? Don't other schools have junior BDA chapters?
If I remember correctly, there's a couple of schools. Let's see, Fremont, New York, I believe, has a junior MBDA. Indiana, I think, is attempting to establish a chapter right now.
True.
Yeah, there's a variety of different Black deaf student-centric programs out there, and we're trying to establish these chapters.
Well, I believe those students have the power to force curriculum update or more so change to the current status quo. We can also establish a program that they can all comply with. That's more feasible to what they're intending to do. So I thought maybe we can work with you all right here on this call. We can brainstorm ways to empower junior BDA. And of course, we're looking at different ways to fund that which determines our destiny in this construct. Okay. We want to be able to fund the work that's necessary to improve our schools, the education for our Black deaf youth, even with respect to our recent president, who had a vision. We want to continue that. What does policing look like in our local communities and their engagement with Black deaf youth? the onus is on us to discuss these things and how to invest the resources necessary, not just the money, but the community resources within our own collective to make us a stronger voice, to be a self-sufficient voice. We do want to increase, given the George Floyd uprising, but how we can improve these relations between the police and our distinct community. Look, if we can all work together, that's a lot of food for thought. And if we can get full off that, I love it. That's what the barbecue is all about. Okay? Any other questions? Do you want to field that from the audience?
Well, as an example, the Fremont School in California, they use the Bay Area chapter and the new Sacramento chapter. So I'm really looking forward to this summer. They are working with their students as their students are home, but they're still trying to provide some support. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what they build there, because then that can serve as a model in other places. But if you're not familiar with your particular chapter, please get a hold of the national board. We want to make sure that we put you in touch with the right folks so that you have the support that you need for your students. And right, there is a lot of funding that is potentially out there from different sources. So we've had a variety of different places who have offered to step up and provide some support. We're looking at our meeting for next year. We haven't got everything put together as far as all the details and plans. We're trying to do some projecting right now in the middle of COVID and everything, but we are definitely trying to make steps towards the future. We believe that the entrance fee next year will be about $650.
Okay, thank you for all those who are on. Anybody has any other good suggestions that we can make applicable, that we can apply to the next MBDA meeting? If any of you are available now to provide not only your resources, but your time, your effort, your talents, please contact us or any one of us on the board. Okay? Because I ain't gonna let y'all go yet. Okay? We got a little more to cover. All right, Corey?
Yeah, I'm good. All
right, well, thank you so much. You all can stay on, of course. I see the whole board is here. I love it. Dorian, I see you. How you doing, brother?
I may be a little bit behind. I'm just trying to catch up a little bit. Do we have any pictures that were shown of the Youth Empowerment Summit?
We had one of CJ, but of course he is off the call or he resigned actually. CJ resigned, so we have an availability with that position. We don't have a photographer per se for DC MBA.
Yeah, we've got several positions we need to fill. Excuse me, I'm a little bit tired. My words are just a little bit slow. It's been a long day, but I think that what we really need to focus on is making sure that we get the flyers and the advertisement, the promotional materials out there.
True. Well, we've done that. I mean, we've definitely done that. I don't want you to think that we haven't been engaging in that type of promotional activity.
Yeah, well, send it to me when you have it ready. I would love to help support this in any way possible. Hey, I appreciate your support. I will most definitely work with you on that.
Yes, sir. It sounds like you're offering yourself to be a part of this position. You leaving, Corey? What you doing? Are you staying on this call? Are you staying?
I'll stay if you would like me to stay. Yeah.
Here it is, brother. Appreciate you. Do we have another question? Sam, do we have another question? No? Are paid, the event bank, and the parents and carnival, both of those bills in the house next week. Well, let's do reporting live. Well, thank you. And we're waiting on a decision when it comes to reopening bars. The topic discussed today during the someone asked how much it costs to go to these programs.
We talked about the $650 approximate cost for the program. Yeah, we talked about that.
That does include staying in the dorm, just FYI. Who gonna be staying in the dorm? The people who apply, Dorian. Uh, Again, we're trying to raise funds to further support things like paying for food. That costs. That is not including your $600. Okay, we're trying to figure out a way to mitigate these circumstances so that people can freely participate. You're here with us. How long have you been involved in NBDA? And what does Juneteenth mean to you, Dorian?
This is a celebration of freedom, a celebration of liberation. Time for us to recognize our equality. That's what really this day is about. It really comes down to equality and liberation.
Appreciate that answer.
I also wanted to throw out there, if you want to be involved in the program as a director, get a hold of us at info@nbda.org. If you send us an email, our staff will be able to get a hold of you and see how we can collaborate together.
Okay, thank you. We'll see how many more people come up in the comment section or just contact us personally.
I think we've got several people who are actually on the call, but we don't see their screens up. I think Benro's out there, right? How come I don't see Benro's face?
I mean, we're live. You can't see everybody.
Oh, my bad. All right.
Hey, look, everybody don't have to volunteer showing their face, okay? They're not on they're not on the DT to show themselves.
There are some people online who are saying that they would like some information on working as directors and support. So yeah, get on our website. You'll be able to see how to get a hold of us there.
Okay, definitely. Well, info@nbda.org. That'd be great. We have things listed all the time that are up to date. If you want to know what other activities and initiatives you get involved with, please become a member today. We've got more than 20 new members just recently. Okay, so that's a nice way to celebrate Juneteenth. And what I'm saying is there's more than what we're covering today. There's so much more that I don't have time to cover that you can uncover on our website. Okay? So I believe at minimum we should have like 15 people interested and can create a committee of any kind. It's easy for us to matriculate that into birthing a vision into some actual measurable goals. Okay? What we want to do is as an organization decide what is best fit for any particular region for us to apply or embark on a team. And that task force, of course, has the we want to connect our local districts with the national agenda. But again, 15 is the magic number. Okay, that's what we use to represent sample size of BDA's, NBDA's national initiative to invest locally in our community. Okay, it takes 15 for us to vote. Okay, at any particular community. Okay, it's a lot of work that we have to do that we expect of one another. So, and for motions to pass, of course, 15 again is the magic number. So in any particular region, if you can all, acclimate yourselves to what the order of business is for us, that'll be great. But for now, I just want to encourage you all to go ahead and become a member. For those who are just viewing, to communicate with your local representatives of MBDA, get together in your local jurisdictions and see if we can get them together and create more chapters out here. We become a stronger force, a stronger network. Get together in your local jurisdictions. The more hands we can do, the more ways we can partner with local organizations. We become a stronger force, a stronger network. What we want to do is become better advocates. Of course, that is what we represent, and that's what we're here to do. There's quite a few people here who I could go down by name, but we missed the time. I do want to know who all is in this with me, with us, that we can stand together, partner with anyone who has like-minded visions and goals on how to improve our Black, Deaf, constituency. So come on and join us, become a member. Each one reach one, because we all are family.
There's another question. It says that there's many schools for the deaf that are looking at sending their students off to these programs. How many different schools do you think are sending students? There's many schools for the deaf that are looking at sending. I believe we have had 11 different schools working with chapters to send in their students. So yeah, about 11 different schools who have committed to send some of their students next year. So we are definitely looking at expanding our programs. Yeah, about 11 different schools who have committed.
We need to send this out to our Black deaf students at every school for the deaf. Everyone.
Oh, absolutely. I know that one of the things that we've been told is that we need to look at these students who are in their mainstream local programs and make sure that they are aware of these things. We need to make sure that we are giving them the encouragement and the empowerment they need. So, second question that we have, are there any active chapters in New England? In the Northeast, do we have any active MBDA chapters? Second question that we have.
Record, right?
Are there any active up in the Northeast? Yeah, any active MBDA chapters? There's been discussions, but there has been a real active movement on that. But if people are interested in setting up something in the Northeast, please let us know. We have to support you. But there has been real active. But if people are interested in setting up something in the Northeast.
All right. We have Baltimore. We have people from all over. We have large reasons to cover. It's hard for anyone of us to go to any one of these places all over. That's why we need to be as connected and as member-driven as possible. We have large reasons to cover. It's hard for anyone of us to go to any one of these places all over. That's why we need to be as connected. I have a question about what about the mainstream schools, like the Philadelphia School District? Corey, you have interest in what about the mainstream schools, like the Philadelphia School District? Corey?
Yeah, we had a student who came from the Pennsylvania school. We were able to send.
There are a lot of us in programs who are matriculating, transferring into post-secondary institutions, other mainstream higher ed institutions outside of Gallaudet. So are we, especially when you think about California, a lot of mainstream going on out there.
Right. When we think about the Leadership Institute for post-secondary students, think about who is actually sending them. We know that we get students from Texas and from Connecticut, from RIT, from Gallaudet, once in a while from California, once in a while from Alabama. We need a lot more Black deaf students, and we need them coming from all these hearing universities that they're all spread out in. So we need to figure out ways strategically to bring all of these students in the diaspora back together in these leadership opportunities.
Yeah, someone texted me about that. What's the difference between most people's interest in people's interest in certain topics? And is the motivation within the technological, the digital divide? Is it, with our development, our business development? What are you noticing people's desire to want to learn more of? Would you want me to answer the same question?
Sorry, would you repeat your question for me, please?
Okay. What topics or activities have you noticed your students more interested in wanting to know more thereof? Is it STEM-based programs? Is it leadership? Is it international development? What is it?
There's such a variety. There's such a variety. I would say that probably our most popular topics is really about identity development. And then also about team building. But yeah, identity development is probably our biggest thing. We do a lot in that area. And we also bring people together as they're working on their identity development to come together and work together as a team. We do have a lot of programming that we do within these week-long intensives. So we do get into some really deep and heavy discussions relative to social justice. We have a lot of students who show up who just really have no idea of what Black Lives Matter even is. Because certainly our schools for the deaf are not addressing these concepts, right? They're not talking about them, and so we have to. So they don't know our history. They don't know that contextual information. We have to bring them in so that we can teach them that. And these students are spread out all over the country. So yeah, these are some very important topics we have to cover in these programs.
Yeah, it seems pretty clear that MBDA has to take a more definitive position in recognizing the needs and partnering with not only our nearest partners, but our families. So it can be fully invested. And now people look at us and judge us like we're doing something that's not inclusive of where they want to be.
Absolutely. I recall a student who came in just very introverted, very shy. However, they got into the program and you could see them grow. They cried when they left. They had to go back to Michigan, and when they went back, people said, "You've changed. Who are you?" They truly stepped into their skin, into their leadership, into their potential. So really, when our students, we bring them together, they learn from these programs and they take those skills back home and they benefit their home communities.
Yeah, that's a powerful story to share. Exposure is the key game. And supporting that bridge is our responsibility. Dorian?
Yeah, we need to revisit some of these topics. We need to look at some of these East Coast chapters. And, we've had people who are asking about their membership, their $25 for membership, right? To national. And then how this money is actually used, where the money gets earmarked to different programs, and how that breakdown actually happens.
I concur. It's been a healthy discussion. When we talk about voting, one theory is that should we suspend creating more chapters? So should we stay as is and strengthen the chapters that are already existing? Because, considering the COVID-19 outbreak, Black Lives Matter is putting the movement of Black Lives Matter is putting a lot of demands on us to make changes that are a better place, not only for ourselves, for the Black deaf community, but for everyone who engages with us. And I want to bring that to our board and make that a challenge. Should we continue our work as is? Should we create more chapters and expand our reach? What should be our focus? I think it's a good question to ask as we reinvigorate ourselves in our degree of participation in what this truly is about.
Definitely, I'll keep an eye out for that.
Okay, well, we have 5 minutes left, so I want to wrap it up. This has been a wonderful day. Of course, it's Juneteenth. I also do want to recognize all of our sponsors for making this happen. A lot of us definitely couldn't make it happen all by ourselves. This has been a last-minute initiative. So with the support of Benro, Sean Forbes, Purple Communications, DPAN TV, I see you. The man behind the magic, okay. And most importantly, Teddy, our Director of Communication, who's been searching high and low to bring these talented volunteers here. Benro, appreciate you. so that we can all see this without having to sign into Facebook, right? Without having to go to a website particularly. Thank you to our interpreting team, Jonathan Webb, thank you so much, who is also the RD president, shameless plug. Been watching all your videos recently. Boy, you've been doing the damn thing. And you've been able to pull in another a stellar team of interpreters, which I appreciate. You can come show your face today. Can you do that, Jonathan? Am I asking too much? Am I asking too much? Where you hiding at? Okay, I see you.
I'm interpreting. I'm working.
Okay. Hey. I'm just saying I appreciate you. And on behalf of RD, thank you. I look forward to partnering with you, MBDA and RD partnering. Billy, can you please come on? Show your smiling face while you're working.
Hey, thank you, Billy. Thank you for being with us at the last minute. We really appreciate your talents, your skills, your time that you've donated to our organization. Thank you for that today. We've also got Ruth Ann, who's provided the captions, correct? Yeah, Ruth Ann. Ruth Ann's provided our captioning today. So she's helped with the cart. CD has also helped with, Corey also helped with that. And then Corey, I know that you were headed out, but you gave up some of your plans to spend time with us. So we have so many people on the back end who have been here to support us. Thank you all. Thank you all for your donation. Thank you for your confidence in us. We've had about 2,500 people who have participated with us today. We want to make sure that we continue to grow our numbers. We commit to this community. We are just beginning. We are just at the beginning. We're celebrating today. We'll cry tomorrow. We'll fight the next day. But we're doing all of this because we can make the world a better place for our children and for our children's children and from all the generations forward. We have to remember what our ancestors did for us, and we have to bring that legacy into the future for MBDA. So we are appreciative of everybody who has provided support to our YES program and through our federal commissions, just to make our lives better, to make sure that we are safe, and to make sure that we have inclusive space for all of us. Regardless of our skin color, regardless of our religion, regardless of our gender, regardless of our sexual orientation or preference, regardless of our sightedness, regardless of any other disabilities, we are all one. MBDA will continue to breathe and live in the notion that we are one people and one community. So this is not over. We will continue our work day by day. And we ask all of us, please stand with us. Please walk with us. Make sure that no one is left out. We need to bring all of our people together so that we can walk together.
Hey, love you back, brother.